A diorama is a three-dimensional model of a scene, and it has depth. There's typically a foreground, a midground, and a background. Today, we're going to be making 4 dioramas of different climates, but we're creating them with a tetrahedral shape so that they can be put together to make a pyramid or a quadrama. This three-dimensional art project shows off the contrasting animals and plants that live in 4 different climates: a rainforest, a continental climate, desert, and polar climates. In the notes for our earth science class, we have a template that you can download and print to create this project with us. But we'll also show you how you can make your own quadrama without a template. I'm Science Mom.
I'm Math Dad.
Grab your paper and join us to make a three-dimensional art project. Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're watching from, and welcome.
This is going to be fun. Today we're doing an art project, and I know we're going to do some talking before we get to it, but are there supplies they should be getting together right now, Science Mom, so that they can be ready?
If you want to make this, and you don't need to make it live with us, you can just watch our directions and then make it right afterwards, but you are going to want paper, tape or glue, and something to color with. That's all you need. And I saw that Owen asked, what is a QUAD-rama? We kind of made that term up just for fun because a diorama is some sort of three-dimensional model. And what we're making has 4 sections. So quad means 4, and I thought quadrama was kind of a fun term to use.
I like it. Trademarked.
It's not trademarked.
Oh.
It's not trademarked.
I'm trademarking it.
Now, before we get started into our quadramas, I want to say that we're going to show you how to do this with our template, but you can also make your own using any type of biome or ecosystem that you want. And a great way to learn more about an ecosystem is to make a model. Look at the plants that grow in that ecosystem, the animals that live there, learn a little bit about the climate that allows those plants and animals to survive, and then make a model. So Math Dad, just for fun, before we get started into our art project, I'm curious if you know the hottest, wettest, driest, and coldest locations on Earth. So instead of our—
Was that 4 different locations or 1 location?
Instead of our traditional where in the world mystery, I decided to do 4 little trivia questions. So our first one is, what is the driest location on Earth?
The driest location on Earth. So the first thing that came to mind was Death Valley, but then I remembered, we actually talked about this. It's Antarctica. There's valleys.
It is. The driest location on Earth is the McMurdo Valleys in Antarctica, and they are completely barren and windswept. It's estimated that rain and snow has not fallen there for perhaps up to 1 million years.
So the snow that we see there just blew in from elsewhere?
It blew in from elsewhere, and there's only snow kind of up on the sides of the valleys. The actual valley floor is fairly barren.
Crazy.
Cool fact, there actually is a salt lake in one of those valleys that has liquid water because it is so salty.
Oh, and the salt raises the melting.
Yes, so even though
lowers the melting temperature.
Yeah, even though it's like 15 degrees below zero, that salt water sometimes can be liquid. So you got the driest location, right?
Yeah.
Good job, Math Dad. What about the wettest? What is the wettest location in the world?
Like gets the most precipitation?
Yep, the location with the most rain.
It's the Amazon rainforest, Science Mom.
The Amazon rainforest does get a lot of rain, but there is a world record holding location that in 1 year received 1,000 inches of rain.
1,000 inches?
That's more than 80 feet of rain.
Oh, man, 83 1/3 feet of rain in 1 year is insane. Like, go just wash away most places. Most places could not handle that much rain. I don't know. Is it the African?
It is actually in
rainforest.
In India. There is a city in India called Mausanram, and Mausanram has the distinction of having reported 1,000 inches of rain in 1985. Its average is over 480. And here's a picture of a waterfall that is in that same province. This entire province of India gets a lot of rain.
Wait. Like, there's a river in the middle of that, but then there's just water leaking from the mountain all the way across.
There is. That in the wet season, this area gets tons of rain. So that is the wettest location. How about the hottest and the coldest?
Okay, I think I can do the hottest because I've visited Death Valley before, and is that the hottest in the world though?
Death Valley does have the record for the hottest temperature ever recorded on planet Earth. And this is the lowest point in Death Valley. These are pictures that we took when we visited. We did not do this hike in the summertime. And in fact, every single year, there are people who go out onto these salt flats in the summertime and then collapse and can't get back to their cars because of the extreme heat and have to be rescued. So if you ever visit Death Valley in the summertime, take their warnings about the heat seriously and do not go hiking in the summer in Death Valley. It's very dangerous.
So that record high temperature?
134 degrees Fahrenheit. There was a temperature in Africa recorded that was higher at the turn of the century, but it was not verified, and we're not sure if it was accurate.
It makes sense. Older instruments weren't as accurate as the thermometers we would have today.
Correct.
Typically.
And then last but not least, the coldest.
Okay, the coldest place, I think we've kind of talked to, it's got to be the South Pole, right?
It's near the South Pole, Vostok, Antarctica, which is not exactly at the South Pole, but it's a Russian research station several miles further out. It actually has the record for the coldest temperature ever recorded.
Do you know how cold that was?
Oh, I'd have to look it up and double check real quick. It was really, really cold.
Man, all right. So I got it right?
You did. Good job, Beth.
Look at that.
Now, when we're looking at a climate or a biome, a certain area where you have plants and animals that live in that area, it's that intersection of heat and water that really kind of tell you what type of climate it is. How hot is it? How cold is it? How wet is it? How dry is it? You're going to get different animals in different types of climates. Are you ready for a little contest, Math Dad?
Yeah.
So the first thing we're going to show you is how to put together one of these without a template. And there's a link in the description, and I know that our moderators have put links to the notes in the chat. So if you want to print out one of our templates, you can.
Well, let me just say a little something about that. If you'll hand me one of those templates here.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are like 15 pages of possible templates. You'll see things like this where you can cut them out. There's a square. We're going to do that. And in the notes, it's all built as though you were going to print everything double-sided. So every other page on this part has a back that shouldn't be printed, or if you do print it double-sided, it won't affect anything. But so there are some throwaway pages there, but that's all optional. You can do this whole project without using any of these templates. Correct?
You can. And the first one that we're going to show you, we're going to actually have a little contest, and just for fun, we're going to pick the ecosystem that we try and draw. We're going to take it from the chat. So right now, if you want to put in a suggestion for an ecosystem, the first one that Math Dad sees, that's the one that we're going to have a little contest and see if we can draw it.
Ooh, I'm ready.
I'm hoping it's an ecosystem that we know something about, because it could be a tricky one.
So this rainforest.
Aaron says rainforest, so we will do a rainforest.
Aaron's the fastest. All right. Okay.
So if you are making your own templates, and all you need is a piece of paper, but then you need to fold it into a square. So I have a piece of paper here where I folded one corner down to make a triangle, and then I folded the opposite corner down to make another triangle. And now I've got a square where these two lines intersect.
So you're making a right triangle, and isosceles right triangle.
That's right.
Twice. Okay.
Now we are going to cut a diagonal line along here, but before we do that, it's easiest if we color it first. So now here's where our fun contest comes into play. You ready for this, Math Dad?
Yeah.
So get your crayons.
Okay. Oh, we're doing the rainforest?
Yep, we're doing a rainforest because that's what Aaron said.
I need a green crayon.
And we have 30 seconds to draw the best rainforest you can. And then we're going to put it together, and we're going to let the chat vote on whose rainforest they like best.
30-second rainforest?
30-second rainforest. And they can see mine, but just trust me, Math Dad's coloring his own right here.
Go.
On your mark, get set, go.
Oh man, this is kind of a bluish green.
And notice I'm coloring my sky just on one side. So this is going to be my background. This is going to be my floor. And now it's time for some trees. I'm going to do nice swirly trees because we're going fast. And if you're making this, I would say take a little more time in coloring your background. Of course, we're going fast because we're live streaming, and we don't want to have you guys have to wait for us to do a lot of detailed coloring. So I've got some big trees here, lots of trunks for my rainforest.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I have a problem.
You have a problem, Math Dad? What's your problem?
I think I'm coloring the wrong part. So I was coloring along here as the ground. Am I doing it wrong?
Yes. So you colored your ground here and your trunk here. I'm coloring it in darker so they can see. And there's your tree.
That's not going to work?
That's not going to work.
Okay, so let's.
But that's a beautiful sun.
So I'm supposed to color the top corner like this?
Yes. So you're just coloring this top half, because this top half, this is going to be the part that stands up. And then one of these is going to get folded underneath the other one.
Okay. So the good news seems to be that
you can turn your paper over.
Yeah, I think I messed up and even colored on the wrong side anyway. But okay. So one more time. Let me fix this. So I was supposed to fold that back, and now this part is where I should draw the picture.
That's where you're going to draw your trees.
Gotcha. Okay. Do over. That one didn't count. That was a good warm up.
And Easton says, how do you fold it? You're rushing. I'd say, don't worry if we go too fast on this part, because you can always watch and then pause. We'll do it several times.
Let's do it one more time, real quick though. Okay, so we took our sheet of paper. It's not a square yet.
And I'm going to draw a line here just to show you guys. So here, this top part, everything that is above this line, this is going to be the background. We're going to color this.
So we fold it over, make a crease, fold it back. So that was a square.
Yep.
Then we did the same thing for the other side.
Yep.
So making the tip touch down here. So that's how we got that square shape right here.
Exactly.
And now you're
going to color half of it.
Color just
half of that square.
Half of it here, and you say this is where the sky is going to be?
This is where your background is going to be. So see how I've got trees there? I've got trees, and I've got some sky up above my trees. That's my background.
Okay, I don't understand it yet either, guys. We'll see. But okay,
trust me,
getting a triangle, and we'll see how this comes together.
Now I'm coloring the ground. And once I have this, once I've colored my paper and I do my cut, then you'll see how it comes together. And if it doesn't make sense when we show you with this one, we'll show you with the template, and it will work a little better.
You want to show the final result maybe real quick, or what it could look like if we were to take our time?
Mimi just had a great suggestion that if we put colored paper underneath this, then they could see it better, because the white paper on the white table is kind of hard to see. That is a great suggestion. I wish I had some colored paper, but I don't. So this is what we're going to be making.
No, sorry. Now hold it up.
All right. So this is what we're going to be making, and this is one that I made with the templates by coloring and cutting them out. And to put it together, sometimes it's easier to do, instead of making it square first, sometimes it's easier to just do your cut first. And I'll show you what I mean, and hopefully then it will make more sense. So I have my ground right here. My background for the forest is here. And now I'm going to cut up along this diagonal line.
All right.
And if you're feeling a little lost, like, oh no, you're going too fast, don't worry, we'll do 2 more examples. And I think by the time we do the 3rd one, it will make more sense. So now, now I have something that looks like a tetrahedron.
Okay, I got mine all colored along the top, and you're saying I'm supposed to color the ground down here?
You can, it's optional though.
Oh, you're just trying to win the contest. You see what she's doing? See what she's doing? Okay, my ground will just be brown. I'll just get this real fast.
And while Matt's doing that, I'm going to trim off this extra section right here.
All right. So now I have this diamond, and I'm supposed to fold. You're going to
you cut like so. Through the center, and then you're going to fold it like that to make your tetrahedron.
Oh, okay. I've got to cut this center line here. And if I cut this center line, you're saying it'll magically come together?
It will. It will. Right. It will come together.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut that center line. What did they do before they had scissors?
Scissors are very handy.
They are. Okay.
And Shyla asked, can we show the template? We'll do one with the template next.
All right.
All right, you ready, Math Dad?
And now you're saying that if I fold this up and fold it in.
It makes a pyramid type shape.
Oh, it's totally making a pyramid. Okay. And you cut off this excess.
Yep. And then you just cut off the leftover paper. So, and once you have one of these little pyramid shapes, then you can if you draw little animals or other things to go in here, you can cut them out and stick them in. But the cool thing about these is that they match. Now I can put two of them together and I get two different scenes.
Okay, that's cool. Clearly we need to do it a little darker in the color.
Yeah, sorry, our bright lights here are kind of washing out the crayon color a little bit. But Math Dad, I think you were just afraid that you're not going to win the vote because we're supposed to ask them which one they like best.
Oh, but I wasn't done because the sun was in my eyes.
The sun was in your eyes?
What? Just a minute. Let me finish. You can't rush genius, science mom.
Well, one more time. I'm going to show you. So you have your square. This is going to be your ground. This is going to go on the bottom, and this is your background. And then you just fold that under to make the shape. All right, now it's time for the vote.
Oops. Okay, so let us know in the chat, right? Either Math Dad or Science Mom for
who made the best rainforest.
Won our rainforest challenge.
Kate says Science Mom. Ooh, Miller says Science Mom. Malcolm says Science Mom. Sophie says Science Mom. Bev says Marmoset. Pickle Obsessed says Math Dad.
All right, there we go. There's somebody with some good taste.
Now,
so one thing I noticed, mine's really curved here. So if I were to make maybe a bit better crease.
If you put it together and it really curves out a lot, just take a minute and sort of pinch these edges and go along each edge and pinch it. And if you just pinch each edge, then it will look much more like a tetrahedron.
Yeah. Okay. So let me say, you don't have to color it before you cut it out, but coloring is way easier on a bigger piece of paper where you can go out of the lines or whatever, and then worry about the cutting later. If you cut first, or especially if you tried to fold it and glue it first, I think you'd regret that because then you'd be working with this 3D figure that would be kind of difficult to color.
All right. Now with the template, we're going to show you how to do one with the template. So with the template, I think it's easiest to fold it. You color it first, but then do the folds along the creases before you cut. So let's go to our overhead view one more time. And again, I apologize that we have white on white background because I know that makes it a little bit trickier to see. So I'm going to, right there, I'm going to fold it backwards just so I can see where that line is. And I'm trying to fold right along that line. And if I don't exactly get it along the line, that's okay. Oh, there we go. Math Dad found a pillowcase. Yay for Math Dad. Yeah, if you don't get it exactly along the line, that's okay. It'll still work to put it together. But if you see that you didn't quite line it up, you can try to adjust and refold it real quick and see if you can get it a little bit straighter. So I'm going to fold along that line. And then I'm going to fold along this line. And now that I've made those folds, then I can color it. And once I've colored it, the easiest thing to do, again, is to just make that cut along that one fold and then fold it under. So we're going to show you with this one more time. So this solid line right here, that's the one that you want to do your cut along. And then once you've done that cut, this just folds over. And now you can tape it and then trim off this bottom part. Or if you prefer, you can trim off the bottom part first. And then you can move it and tape it. So now move it over here and tape it, and your quadrama is done. But again, you want to sort of pinch those lines one more time to make them straight so that then you can put them together. And Shyla asked, do we cut the bottom? Yes, you do. And where do you fold? You fold along these dotted lines. So 2 of these lines are just dashed and dotted. And then this line right here is solid. The solid line is the one you cut. And then you fold. And if we went a little too fast, don't worry. You can watch the video again and you can always pause and rewatch.
Let's do one more here. So I've got mine. I decided to color first, but I'm not going to do any cutting. I want to try to fold this guy. So I'm going to fold. I actually have it as a square already. So opposite corner to opposite corner in theory should work. Okay. Good, good. Nice crease there. And then unfold.
Says you forgot and if it doesn't line up exactly right, and it might not just because of the printer, that's okay. It will still make a quadrama. It will still make a diorama that you can put together.
Okay. And then again, try to get a nice crease. Okay. So I can fold up and over. What did you say I forgot?
Oh, Savannah says you forgot the sun.
I did forget the sun.
That's okay.
But yeah, this was just my quick crayon scribble.
And the thing I love about art is that it is up to you how you color this and how you put it together. It's your art project. You can color it any way you'd like.
Okay, so now it can stand up and it makes a quadrama.
And let's go back to the big view so they can see, and I'll just show one more time how these fit together. So you'll notice, Math Dads, right after you cut it out and put it together, it's a little bit round. And if you want to be sure that these lines are straight and that they'll put together, just kind of pinch them like that. And then it will go to the other one much better. And now you can line them up and put them together.
Wait, Hannah, how do you get them to stick together?
Tape.
Okay,
Tape or a glue stick. And I'll show you one more time real quick, just the colored ones that we made. So in our polar one, we've got our ocean waters and iceberg penguins. So some examples of animals that live in the polar one. In our rainforest, we have a macaw and a white-nosed coati and a butterfly and some fun different animals and plants. In our desert one, naturally, we have our roadrunner and coyote and some cactuses. Oh, and then in our continental one, we've got an ibex and a vulture and a deer. We've got animals from the Swiss National Park there.
So this is really cool. This is probably my favorite art project ever, and just the level of detail. Because even if you just do one of the quarters, I mean that's a pretty cool art project, and the way that they actually come together, if you do all 4 of them, is really cool. And so now the thing you'd have to decide is, do I want to use the templates, or should I just make up something on my own?
And you can totally make your own, and you could make 1 of them or 2 of them, or you can make 4.
Be kind of fun. You could make an alien one, make up your own new biome if you wanted. And if you made more than 4, then you could swap them in or out.
Daniel asked a good question. How do we make the animals? Now, for the animals on the templates, you can see that they each have a square of paper below them. And that's so that when you cut them out, you can get them to stand up on your biome. So if you look at this seal, put it down so it's in focus. If you look at this seal here, I folded one of the papers backwards and one of the papers forwards so that then that helps the seal to stand up straight.
Oh, and that way you could glue it down.
Yes. So
something occurred to me, Science Mom. If you made 2 quadramas, then you could paste, because you get a flat edge on bottom, you could make like an octadrama.
I suppose you could if you wanted to, because we've got these ones like this. Here, go back to our big view so we can see. If you wanted to do something really cool, you could even tape them down like this, and you could make it this direction.
Although no doubt half of it would all be upside down, but
this
still,
is true.
That would be kind of cool.
Tani asked a great question. What are some other topics that we could make models of? And really, you could make so many different types of models. So for this desert ecosystem, I modeled it after the desert where we live, the Mojave Desert. But if you wanted to do a research project on deserts, you could make 20 different little biomes for deserts. And you could have one for the Sonoran Desert, one for the Sahara Desert. You could do the deserts in Australia, which all have different animals and plants than this one.
Right. I think everybody should probably pick whatever biome you happen to live in as well, because that's something you're actually an expert on. You've lived there, you know what the animals look like, you know what it looks like. So that would be maybe the easiest one, the one that requires the least amount of research. Yeah, and I mean, in here we're doing big biomes, but you could also just pick a more niche, like an ecosystem, I guess is what I'm thinking of there. Like this, a pond. Like, okay, what animals live around this pond near my house? Or, yeah, I love how open-ended this project is, and I'm super excited to see the artwork that you guys come up with on this.
So, especially our if you're one of our students and you've been watching every video, I really hope that you will email us a picture of the work you do. We would love to see your artwork and see what biome you choose, because you don't have to do the 4 that we did. It's up to you. You can do these 4, or you could do something else. It's completely up to you. Now, before we go on to, I've got some questions and a fun little thing. I want to show you guys something that Math Dad made. So yesterday we had a big to-do list and we got distracted by fun projects.
and did nothing on the big to-do list.
But we really had fun doing our fun projects. So my fun project was that I make stickers for our patrons, and each month I mail out stickers to our patron people in our sticker club. So I made science jokes. Here's one. I was magma before it was cool.
So rocks.
Yep. And Velociraptor, the marsupial that rules Australia. So I spent all day designing and making stickers, but Math Dad spent all day making a song. And so we're going to post this to YouTube this weekend so that you guys can work on memorizing the atmosphere song. But I wanted to share it with you right now. And you're welcome. The words are along the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and sing along with them if you'd like.
We live in the troposphere, bottom of the atmosphere. All Earth's weather happens here in the troposphere. We love the atmosphere, keeps us safe and warm down here. 5 layers tier by tier in the atmosphere. Warmer than the air below, ozone layer had a hole. Airplane contrails white like snow in the stratosphere. We love the atmosphere, keeps us safe and warm down here. 5 layers tier by tier in the atmosphere. Never see a shooting star, the mesosphere is where they are. Coldest layer on Earth by far, in the mesosphere. We love the atmosphere, keeps us safe and warm down here. 5 layers tier by tier in the atmosphere. Molecules extremely hot, radiation ions brought. Space station for astronauts in the thermosphere. We love the atmosphere, keeps us safe and warm down here. 5 layers tier by tier in the atmosphere. The exosphere is way out there, near space it's such thin air. Satellites are everywhere in the exosphere. We love the atmosphere, keeps us safe and warm down here. 5 layers tier by tier in the atmosphere.
So that was Math Dad's big project yesterday, which
I forgot to eat lunch. I was so busy on this, and less than 2 minutes long, and it took a long time to make a video.
It does take a long time to make videos, but I hope you guys will sing that song and learn the layers, because if you know immediately when someone says stratosphere or mesosphere, if you can think where that is and what characteristics you know about it, that will really help you understand our atmosphere better.
Right. Well, it'll also help you just understand scientific conversations throughout the rest of your life. You'll automatically have a context for what they're talking about when they're talking about the atmosphere. Learning scientific vocabulary is really empowering. So that's one reason why we've been trying to emphasize it and trying to use those terms. We've got a smart group of kids here. Science Mom and I don't dumb this stuff down. We talk like we would talk to adults for the most part.
One quick thing I want to mention before we do our questions, we had a great correction come in, and kudos and thank you to the Knopf family for this. I mentioned that hummingbirds were primary consumers last time, but they're actually not. And this is a common misconception. A lot of people think that hummingbirds only eat nectar, but they eat insects too. It's just we happen to see them at our feeders all the time drinking sugar water, and sometimes we'd think that, oh, that's all they need. But they actually eat a lot of spiders and bugs and other insects.
Okay, I'm a little rusty. Will you remind me about producers and consumers?
Yes. So producers are plants. They're things that do photosynthesis, and they are going to be creating sugars and other types of food.
So they produce that carbon?
Yes.
All that energy for us. So they're creators, kind of.
Exactly.
All right.
And then primary consumers are herbivores. They only eat plants.
Okay.
And something like a hummingbird, you might think, a hummingbird, there's my drawing of a hummingbird. It looks kind of like a mosquito, but you might think, a hummingbird only drinks nectar. It's a primary consumer. But if it also eats insects, then it's a secondary consumer because it's eating insects, which eat plants. And that means it's secondary.
Okay.
So a person...
Wait. So what about a cow?
A cow is a primary consumer.
It only eats plants.
Only eats plants.
Whereas humans are secondary consumers because...
Unless they're vegan.
Okay.
Or vegetarian, yes. Secondary consumers, something that's an omnivore like a raccoon or a marmot that eats insects and plants is going to be a secondary consumer.
All right. And if there was something that only ate meat eaters, so then it would be like a tertiary consumer, like this whole hierarchy.
Secondary is where we stop, but there are food chains where the further down the food chain you are, that's certain interesting things happen, especially with things like microplastics or small or amounts of lead, because if you're eating other animals, things will accumulate more.
Oh.
So when you look at like lead poisoning, if there's lead in the water, the fish will probably be okay if it's low amounts, but the eagles that eat the fish, they're going to get a more concentrated amount. That's a tangent for another day. All right. You guys ready for questions?
It is time. Now, there's no way anybody managed to finish their quadramas, and that's okay. That's a project that you could spend all weekend on. You even have Monday. There's a holiday and no class. So there's a little extra time. So don't rush yourself. Do your best projects. Something that you're proud of, because I think these are cool. All right, we're going to go to itempool.com/sciencemom/live. And
we have 5 questions for you guys.
Our first question: true or false? All of Antarctica is covered in ice.
This is a super common misconception. I hope that's totally a hint. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a hint. But they need all the help they can get, Science Mom, because I don't know that they're up to getting my questions.
They're the unbeatable science kids, Math Dad. They win pretty much every time.
All right. Wow. One category is getting all the votes.
It is getting all the votes, and they are correct. There are dry valleys in Antarctica, the McMurdo Valleys, that have no ice. Most of Antarctica is covered in ice, but not all of it.
Yeah.
Good job.
So did you say it had been like 1 million years since it rained there?
It's hard to say, but they estimate that it could have been that long.
Crazy. All right. True or false? Nearly half the world's species live in tropical rainforests. So earlier this week, we talked about rainforests. What is it, true or is it false?
I keep hoping that Science Puppy will be like, want to look at you guys and say hi, but he's sleepy. This is his sleepy time. We take him on a big walk every morning, and then this time of day, he tends to just like to take a nap. And so he's all curled up right here asleep.
All right. So Samantha asked a question: do cows drink their own milk? Baby calves do. They'll drink the milk from the mom, but the grown-up cows, the mamas can produce the milk, but the cows don't drink milk once they've grown up. All right.
Finish and reveal.
The answer is true. The rainforests, they definitely don't cover half of the world, but they have half the world's species.
Yeah, they only cover about 6%.
They're so densely populated with animals. All right. Question 3. Which of these are secondary consumers in a polar ecosystem? Ooh, so we're getting all those vocabulary words in at once.
And speaking of polar ecosystems, Science Mom Amber looked up for me what the coldest temperature recorded was at the Vostok Research Station. It was negative 129 degrees Fahrenheit. that's so cold that dry ice would actually be forming. So if you breathed out, when you exhaled, the carbon dioxide you exhaled would want to condense into a solid form. That's incredibly cold.
Gasoline would probably start freezing at that point. Like, that is crazy. All right, so I'm seeing 3 categories get lots of votes here. So what are our options? Blue whale, leopard seal, penguin, kelp, and krill. So which are secondary consumers? All right, let's finish and reveal. And first 3, blue whale. So blue whales live in polar ecosystems. So
they live in other ecosystems as well.
But they do hang out there.
They travel, but they
eat lots of krill, right?
Yes.
Okay. Leopard seals, they like to eat the penguins, right? I'm not sure what else they eat, but certainly the penguins are feeding on the krill.
The leopard seals are the top predator down in Antarctica in that system. Leopard seals and killer whales sometimes will be down there as well. But yeah, they'll eat pretty much anything they can catch.
Okay, nicely done then. Yeah, they nailed that one. All right. Which of these are producers in desert ecosystems? Coyote, creosote bush, Joshua trees, roadrunners, lizards. So select each of the producers in a desert ecosystem. So I think we can fairly safely say here that all of these are from a desert ecosystem.
And then I'm going to answer some questions that our moderators gathered real quick. Is a marmoset a primary consumer or a secondary consumer, from Elliot? That is a great question. It could depend on the species of marmoset. The last time that I looked it up, I think most marmosets that I've researched, I think they're omnivores, where they eat both plants and insects.
Insects, okay.
So they would be secondary. But I have not had time to research this thoroughly, so there could be some primary, some herbivorous marmosets. I'm not sure.
All right, let me close this question down. The chat says a creosote bush and a Joshua tree are the producers.
Correct.
Darn, they got it right. Okay. Okay.
You can't beat them, Math
Dad.
Dad.
It's a hard group to fool here.
And then two more questions I want to answer real quick. What was Math Dad hitting in the song? It was a, what is it called, Math Dad?
A punching bag?
It's a punching bag.
Go ahead, give it a punch, Science Mom.
And why are there shapes in the picture that we showed from Death Valley from Remington Wolf? This is a great question.
Oh, yeah, go back.
From Remington. So I'm going to show this one more time. When the salt evaporates, sorry, Calvin. When the salt evaporates, it tends to do it in patterns, and over time, and it takes a long time, you get these ridges that form. And once there's a ridge, then the water is going to evaporate and collect a little bit differently around that ridge than around other places. And the size of the ridges and how far apart they are, it kind of depends on where in the valley you are. And you see they start out sort of small, and then they get bigger as you go out. So yeah, it just has to do with how the water evaporates. Good question.
All right, our last poll question. Most of Europe is classified as a blank climate. Is it continental, desert, Mediterranean, polar, or tropical? Different types of climate that we've talked about throughout this last week. But what is most of Europe?
And there was also a good question from Yasmin. What is our favorite ecosystem? If you had to pick, Math Dad, what would you pick?
Ooh, I haven't experienced living in many different ecosystems. And the one nice thing about the desert is we don't have to shovel snow in the winter, but summers are really brutal. So I don't know. I kind of like the continental. You get all 4 seasons. It's kind of nice, although I don't like shoveling the snow.
I would pick a temperate rainforest. That would be my favorite.
Yeah, I'd go for warmer too. Maybe the Mediterranean. But, all right, and they said continental
is correct. There are a lot of different types of climates in Europe. So there's the maritime, there is the Mediterranean. That's kind of down further south and along the Mediterranean Sea. That's where that climate got its name. But the continental climate is what most of Europe is in. Good job, you guys.
Most of North America would probably be a
good amount of North America as well.
Yep. So well done, you guys. Once again, got my questions right. Not bad. So I gotta say, I am super excited to see what you come up with on these. Oh man, they remembered the dance.
They did remember the dance. They're not going to forget, Math Dad.
All right.
Real fast dance. Cowden will dance with you.
All right. Oops. I got my hips going the wrong direction, guys. That was the worst. What do we call that? Even the floss.
We'll have to come up with some better ones. I don't think you know how to floss, Math Dad.
No, yeah, and I can get it half the time, but the other half the time I go the wrong direction. You kids and your fancy dances these days.
All right. 3 more questions we'll answer, and then we're going to wrap up. Someone said the link to the notes does not work. We will investigate that right away and try and get it fixed. Sorry about that. And then great question about waterfalls. So are waterfalls safe, and what type of animals swim or live by waterfalls? And it all depends on the speed and how much water is coming over the waterfall. But there actually are some very specialized animals that live kind of back behind waterfalls in tropical climates and use that water as protection, because then other animals that would eat them can't get to them as easily. And is a waterfall safe? It all depends. The water can hit really hard if it hits in a plunge pool, and there can be sort of currents where it would not be safe to swim by a waterfall. But most waterfalls are pretty safe.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can think of some really big ones would just be dangerous with all the water landing.
It all depends. Last but not least, a super happy birthday shout out to Hajarat, who turns 5 today. Happy birthday, Hajara.
Hey.
And a very special happy birthday to Grace and Evelyn McLeod, who turned 12 today. And guess what, Math Dad? Today's February 12th.
So it's a golden birthday.
It is. Happy birthday, Grace and Evelyn. We hope you guys enjoyed this art project, and we would love to see your work. So if you make 1, 2, or 4 or more of these, send your pictures to us by email or post them on social media where we can see them. And we hope that you enjoyed learning more about biomes and ecosystems. Don't forget, there is no class on Monday because Monday is a holiday in the US. So we will see you next Wednesday. Work hard, grow smart.